Back to the Fearless Training Raw Knowledge podcast with myself, as always, Alex Connor, where we talk everything training, nutrition, and lifestyle. Thank you for everyone who has supported the podcast so far. And if you haven't already, please give us a rating in iTunes. It would definitely help us share this good knowledge around with other like-minded people who want to also improve their lifestyle in respect to these factors. And anyone who's been watching the clips on YouTube and is part of the Fearless Training United membership group, thank you once again for your support and positive contribution. And if you want to be a part of that and you're listening on our other channels and you want everything you need to know in a no-nonsense way about training, nutrition, and lifestyle, then you can follow the links in the description to this podcast in the given links below. Okay, so today I am talking with friend and physician, Dr. Nathan Kelly. Nathan is an osteopath by trade, but he's a little bit diverse as well, as you'll find out in this conversation. He's a man of many talents, and he's probably a little bit of what I would call a hybrid in terms of a practitioner. He's a very down-to-earth gentleman, and he's someone who's very passionate about what he does, hence why I've got him on the podcast today to share some of his wisdom and truths with you. Now, Nathan is the director and principal osteopath at Universal Health and Performance. He's a fully registered and qualified osteopath and completed his 5 years of training at Southern Cross University in 2013. As you'll find out, Nathan has a unique approach to patient care through combining traditional elements of osteopathy and dry needling with modern strength and conditioning principles to give you a full spectrum of injury management, rehabilitation, as well as enhancing physical performance. Nathan has a wide variety of clientele base, and he's got experience looking after many different sporting disciplines, from barbell and strength based athletes, which we'll definitely dig into in this episode as it's something that we generally target on this podcast. CrossFit, bodybuilding, strongman, powerlifting, any ollie lifting, anything strength training related. He's done various football codes, clubs, running and trial running. Surfing is another big one of his niches, as he is a surfer himself, hence the name Surfing Osteopath on his social media links. BJJ, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and combat sports alike. So drawing from his own clinical experience mixed with ever-evolving current research and evidence-based physical therapy and rehab, Nathan definitely has a holistic and a highly individualized approach to each patient. He's someone who is a bit of a nerd like myself, so he's always reading up for his own knowledge and to better enhance his practicing skills for his clients. Nathan considers himself a lifetime student, has taken many opportunities to learn from industry leaders, not only in physical therapy, but many pioneers of human health performance and optimization. Nathan, as I've mentioned, is an avid surfer, musician, and father of 2 beautiful children. He has a wonderful family, and that's some of which we do touch on in this topic. Basically, Nathan is a down-to-earth person. He is a wonderful and a great practitioner who's passionate about what he does, and he's one of the very real, genuine, and authentic people within his field and within the world. Once again, we need more people like this. But without rambling on too much, guys, enjoy this podcast with Dr. Nathan Kelly. All right, Nathan.
Yes,
thank you for your time and welcome to the Raw Knowledge podcast. So, as with all my guests, we'll start right at the beginning. So, for those of us who don't know and maybe are listening and don't know a little bit about you, tell us what you do, how you got into it, and specifically why you do it.
Right, so technically, like my title, I'm an osteopath. I think my knowledge has probably gone at this point in time a little bit deeper than just what the title would subsume, I guess. So I've got a particular interest in strength and conditioning and helping people achieve goals within that realm, I guess. Not specifically, but it's sort of definitely around that. I got into it, I guess, initially. I always liked helping people. I think I was either going to go into being a nurse, a doctor, a physio, an osteo, something like that within that scope. From when I was really young, I think I always just had those qualities in me. And being quite sporty growing up, I think I got sort of steered towards the more physical therapy and rehab side of things. I played a lot of tennis, some soccer, I definitely did a lot of skateboarding, a little bit of surfing, and things that kept me injured, basically.
Yeah, there you go. Very adventurous sort of kid then, yeah.
Yeah, exactly right. So I was invariably in and out of lots of physio clinics most of my sort of adolescent sporting career, but it wasn't really until I found an osteopath after high school that I realised I wanted to be an osteopath. At that time there was differences in the way that physios and osteos and chiros were treating.
Yep.
I think at this point now those bridges are starting to be pushed together. So I won't bore your listeners too much with the subtle nuances, but I would say that the internet brings everyone a little bit closer as far as what the research is telling us, and whereabouts we're headed as far as like driving outcome-based results rather than looking at like, I'm an osteopath, I have to do this, I'm a physio, I have to do that.
Yeah.
It's like,
so you mean like in terms of maybe having some crossover, like you're not sort of saying, well, you're not in tunnel vision, I guess sometimes maybe there's a bit of variation in scope, which I do want to delve into a little bit later on. I'll let you continue because I understand like you sort of referenced, I think there is a bit of a gap that's been met or bridged, if you like, between the two, and I know your expertise kind of sort of floats in between that, because a lot of people will know you as an osteopath, but then at the same time, they're like, hang on, there's a little bit more than that, and to a degree. But continue on, we'll jump into that a little bit later.
Cool. Yeah. So you're exactly right. It does. It's a scope that's sort of coming together. I think that's a good thing. As I said, like the power of knowledge is that the internet brings us can have its negative sides, but also has really positive sides as far as that's concerned. So anyway, I jumped into an osteopathic degree after doing a few other things after high school, and I sort of it's a long degree. It's 5 years full time at university. And I think my passion for it waxed and waned. And when you study for that long, I certainly, towards the end of it, was probably feeling a little bit flat, I think.
Yeah, for sure. So it takes a lot out of you.
Absolutely.
I think mentally as well, because it can get monotonous sometimes, because it's very intense.
Yeah. So, and I came out and I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I just went and worked in a generalised clinic, which was good. That sort of got me really busy and going and just like patient contact sort of type thing. But it wasn't really until I moved to the Gold Coast, probably 3 or 4 years after graduating, that I was exposed to a different demographic, which was a lot of strength and barbell athletes, primarily, and gym related and sporting type injuries, which I wasn't seeing previously before. I was just seeing run-of-the-mill desk workers with sore lower backs, people who had, basically not enough time and probably too much money. It's just sort of just fix me, I can't be bothered doing anything for myself sort of type approach. And all of a sudden, I sort of got thrust into a world where there are very active, sporty people who are looking for something different other than just, I need a fix me sort of type thing on the table.
So maybe like people who had a bit more, I don't know if this is the right term, but real problems. I'm not saying other people did, but maybe your skills were best placed in this field to people who actually needed them a little bit more, rather than maybe things that could have been prevented rather than cured.
Absolutely, yes. That's a very good way of putting it, I guess. Like problems are problems, right? So like pain is pain.
For sure.
But absolutely, there were things that required a different way of looking at it. And I think that's where I really found my passion, was in sort of linking the two together, not only sort of like my manual therapy sort of hands-on skills as an osteopath, which you come out of uni really hot and ready to go with that, but then mixing that with the strength and conditioning knowledge base, and how you can meld those two together to really create quite a nice, succinct, not only in the room treatment plan, but I think an ongoing treatment plan as far as like rehab and prehab is concerned, to give like quite a good full spectrum with patient management, I guess.
Sure. Because I imagine it makes you a bit more well-rounded.
Yes.
I mean, it's like, even though it's difficult at the time, but I think if there is situations, scenarios, injuries, whatever you want to refer to them as, it's going to make you a better practitioner and sharpen your skills, as again, as hard as it may be, if you're getting a variety of clients. Obviously there comes a point where if you get too broad, you're sort of not really specializing in anything, but I imagine, like you said, maybe that transition, I mean, do you think it's helped you become a better practitioner and identify things a lot better, even in the generalized sort of sense?
Yes, yeah, for sure, because then there are crossover now that I can provide people, in that more, what I would call, like general population, that I can sort of guide them towards finding those approaches and being not only really specific from, let's say, a strength and conditioning side of things, but then taking, say, a regression of some of those movements and providing that with someone that might be more appropriate to them. So yeah, finding that scope and being wax and wane between the two of them, I think really did, it helped me not only find quite a strong passion for it, but it broadened my scope, I guess, of who I could help and who I could treat.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And then I guess, like really within the bodybuilding community, that pushed me to want to learn more, I guess, like people coming to me with quite specific problems within what they were struggling with around their training. They had very specific goals and need to get from here to here. How do I do that? And that made me go, well, shit, I need to go and figure out how I can help this person do more, reading specifically around that to help them out. So yeah, absolutely.
So it made you invest more in your own skill set in terms of researching. If I'm remembering correctly, excuse me, you are someone that, regardless of the situation, you're quite interested in learning more, aren't you? Like would you say you've got a natural curiosity? I'm just thinking of the time when we first met and we did some treatments and you said, you like to read more, like you seek out learning for your own benefit, but not just that, because you enjoy it. Is that right? Or do you sometimes feel, I've got to learn more, and it's important to upskill and reinvest, but where's your standpoint on that?
Yes, yeah, for sure. No, it definitely sits within that, like, I want to know more. And I think part of me, that may sit from an egotistical kind of things that you want to be right? You want to have the answers, you want to be able to provide that and say, not only say it, but have a good justification for it. So yeah, I think that part of that, it sounds funny, but it certainly does drive me in particular towards like finding more, doing more reading, doing more research, and figuring out the whys of how we can help someone and really implicate them together.
Yeah, and ultimately it all helps your clients, your own knowledge, etc. And I think it's important because most people who do well like yourselves and that they do reach success in their given field, they have to have some element of passion and enjoyment. Like sometimes it's a love-hate relationship, right? We all get it. There's days you come to work, it's hard, it's tough, and that's all part and parcel of life in general. But if you're not passionate about said subject or thing that you're doing, I think that's the difference, because when times get tough, that's going to be the difference, or that's going to be the difference on the daily in terms of, I'm really interested in this. I just have a general passion and curiosity, and I want to know more, and I want to help people in this field, and it's just fascinating, right? Like some people like red, some people like blue, in a really simplistic term. So, it's I think it's good that you found something that not only you're good at, but you enjoy. You've got to kind of marry the two in a way.
Yeah.
If that's fair to say. I mean, you obviously, I imagine you enjoy what you do.
Very much so. I consider myself very lucky that I get to get up every day and go to work and not only do something that I love, but work with people that I really enjoy being around. And I've found that niche. Well, I guess it's always an ever-growing base, but you're exactly right. That sort of helped me enjoy my work more, because that opened me up to working with people who I enjoy working with, I guess. It's a double-edged knife on that regard, that it drives you towards more and more, which is good. I'm not saying that I like helping a broad range of people. I help people from like 5-year-olds, right the way through to sort of 95-year-olds. But certainly it's nice to break up my day between different populations and really help people who want to be helped.
Have a bit of variety.
Yeah, exactly.
That kind of answered my next question. I was going to say, what's like your general ratio of clientele? So it sounds like you've got a good variety there.
Yep.
Would you say that, like maybe out of the people that you do see on a daily basis, like 50% of your clients now more strength and conditioning, or is it still a ratio? Are you obviously able to prevent a lot of them coming back? Yeah.